G'day guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from Spain. It's actually in the English language, so you don't have to worry about subtitles. Released in the year 2011, directed by Carlos Torrance, and this film is called Apartment 143. Now, this is the Argentinian release, so obviously it's in Spanish, but the English title is Apartment 143. So Apartment 143 centers upon a young family who have some strange occurrences happening in their house. So they want to get to the bottom of this, so they get the assistance of a paranormal entity team. And amongst this team is a psychologist, and the psychologist wants to interview the family because he believes the strange occurrences happening in the house has something to do with a tragedy that the family have recently gone through. So I'm not going to tell you what the tragedy is about, but as he interviews the family, he uncovers the truth little by little. But as he gets further and further into the truth, the intensity of this strange occurrence is getting much more, much more dangerous. And so it's putting in the lives of not only the family but also the team in great danger. So if you want to know how the movie unfolds and whether or not this team and family are successful in what they're trying to do, that is up to you to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on this movie. This was actually a pretty creepy film, and I actually thought that the overall atmosphere to the movie was pretty well done. As far as production value is concerned, this one was pretty good. I mean, the acting was decent, and I thought it went at a pretty good pace. So it doesn't take very long to get into the thick of it. So for low attention spanners, you won't have to contend with too much. So it does go at a fairly brisk pace, and it only goes for about 80 odd minutes. So it was a pretty good runtime. It doesn't go for too long, and at no stage does it feel like it drags. So it is a found footage film. If you're not a fan of found footage, I would say stay away from it. But if you're like me and you love this subgenre, then this one's definitely going to take your interest. And it does promise a lot, being a foreign film, especially from Spain. Spain have delivered some really good stuff lately. So I had really high expectations coming into it, and I knew that it wasn't going to be the most creative film because it kind of felt like a Paranormal Activity film. But as I said, that the fact that it was Spanish, I was hoping it would have a creative sort of flair, a foreign feel to it. And for some part of it, it does have a foreign feel to it, and it's very creepy. The atmosphere is very well done. It kind of feels very uncomfortable throughout the entire length. But unfortunately, it is a case of been there, done that. It has a strong resemblance towards Paranormal Activity. It has the same camera angles. It has the same old formula of they put their cameras up, they go to sleep, strange things happen when they're asleep, they wake up, they watch the footage, and I didn't know that was there, it's haunted, it's haunted. I've seen that all before. And you as a viewer will see that all before if you are aware of the Paranormal Activity franchise. If you haven't seen Paranormal Activity, you will get a lot more out of it than if you have, because it kind of feels that the director has ridden the wave of success that was generated from the Paranormal Activity franchise. And unfortunately, that is the case with a lot of other films. If there's a popular franchise, there are other spin-offs to that franchise, and it's kind of riding the wave of that success. So unfortunately, it is a case with this film as well. There is a lot of predictability to it because, as I said, you have seen it before. But having said that, the predictability of the scares doesn't prevent it from being scary. I mean, at the end of the film, towards the end, there are some genuinely creepy horror set pieces, and they're actually very, very well done. So for that, I would say that it is worth seeing, just for the simple fact that the scares are well done. It's very, very creepy. And although sometimes you can see the scares, or you can predict when the scares are going to occur, it still hits you pretty hard because it's very well done. It's very creepy, but it does rely on the same jump scares that the Paranormal Activity franchise and Blair Witch to some extent relied on as well. So it doesn't prevent itself from being a standard sort of found footage haunted house horror film. So that was the most disappointing aspect to the film. But having said that, I would say that although it does put you off because, it is very reminiscent of films previous, I will say give it a chance, because by about the halfway point, when you start to go away from the jump scares and into the family dynamics, that's where the film starts to pick up and it starts to get better. And I actually felt that as far as found footage films are concerned, this character development was better, especially from the Paranormal Activity. Now, Paranormal Activity had the side story of the family, but it wasn't a major point, and it really relied on the scares, cheap scares. It's not supposed to be a horror film in depth. This movie, I wasn't expecting it to have the depth that it actually did. Now, it's not a movie that's going to move you, but it is a movie that's going to make you interested in the characters. Therefore, it kind of takes the attention away from the fact that they're blatantly ripping off another movie. And I thought that was very well done. It kind of felt like the director was worried that this might happen, so he had a backup plan. And that backup plan was to delve into the lives of a very dysfunctional family and the family dynamics and how they're coping with the family tragedy. So for that, I sympathised with the father especially. He had a very hard time of it, and I could understand what was going on and why the children especially were being very difficult towards him. So that really surprised me, and that's what makes the film watchable. And that's why I'm going to say definitely check it out, even if even if I've criticised it being a film that you've seen before, it still has enough um, of a difference to warrant at least one viewing. Whether or not you buy it, I really don't know. I picked this up very cheap. I wouldn't pay too much for it because you've seen the Paranormal Activity franchise. You've probably seen this film. I don't think the fact that there's good family dynamics in the film, I don't think that warrants a viewing on its own. But if you're bored on a Friday night and you want to see a film that it's not terrible, but it would have been better if it kind of had its own flavour. But yeah, throughout the entire movie, you can't help but feel that you've seen it all before, and that it is quite, it is very, very similar as far as the camera angles are concerned, and ultimately that's what lets the film down. But there is a very good climax to the movie, but as I said, the predictability kind of, it dampens it a little bit. But the horror set pieces were well done, and as I said, the family dynamics and the acting from the cast was fairly decent. So for that, I'm going to give it 2 stars. Now, 2 because of the fact it tries to be a little bit different, but overall it does fall under a cloud of predictability because it has borrowed a lot of ideas from movies that have been done before. So 2 stars for the Spanish horror film Apartment 143. I hope you enjoyed this review, and until next time, keep watching movies. I'll see you later.